All right, this is section 5, device users, use environments, and user interface. And this is from the FDA guidance for medical device. The real title is Applying Human Factors and Usability Engineering to Medical Devices from 2016. Introduction is another video. Please refer to that if you are confused about the document I'm reading. All right, scrolling down. Okay. Once again, there are figures in this document. I don't say they're crucial to understanding the information, but if you do feel like it would be valuable, I would recommend going just Googling FDA guidance and then downloading it. It's free. All right. Device users, use environments, and user interface. Figure 4 presents a model of the interactions between a user and a device, the processes performed by each, and the user interface between them. When users interact with the device, they perceive information provided by the device, then interpret and process the information and make decisions. The users interact with the device to change some aspect of its operation, e.g. modify a setting, replace a component, or stop the device. The device receives the user input, responds, and provides feedback to the user. The user might then consider the feedback and initiate additional cycles of interaction. It's a very technical way of just saying, just explaining human computer or human device interaction. Okay. Yeah, the image just kind of shows that visually. Not super helpful, but I guess if you're a visual learner. All right, prior to conducting HFE/UE analyses, you should review and document essential characteristics of the following. And this is a bullet point list. Device users, e.g. The intended users of the device, e.g. physician, nurse, professional caregiver, patient, family member, installer, maintenance staff member, reprocessor, and disposer. User characteristics, e.g. functional capabilities, physical, sensory, and cognitive experience and knowledge levels and behaviors that could impact the safe and effective use of the device, and, final bullet point, the level of training users are expected to have and or receive. All right, next bullet point, next big bullet point. Device use environments, e.g. Hospital, surgical suite, home, emergency use, public use, etc. Or, next bullet point, special environments, e.g. emergency transport, mass casualty event, sterile isolation, and hospital intensive care unit. Next bullet point, device user interface, e.g. components and accessories, controls, visual displays, visual, auditory, and tactile feedback, alarms and alerts, logic and sequence of operation, labeling, training. Oh, and that's it. These considerations are discussed in more detail in the following sections. The characteristics of the intended user's use environments in the device user interface should be taken into account during the medical device development process. All right, device users. The intended users of a medical device should be able to use it without making use errors that could compromise medical care or patient or user safety. Depending on the specific device and its application, device users might be limited to professional caregivers, such as physicians, nurses, nurse practitioners, physical and occupational therapists, social workers, and home care aides. Other user populations could include medical technologists, radiology technologists, or laboratory professionals. Device user populations might also include the professionals who install and set up the devices and those who clean, maintain, repair, or reprocess them. The users of some devices may instead be non-professionals, including patients who operate devices on themselves to provide self-care, and family members or friends who serve as lay caregivers to people receiving care in home, including parents who use devices on their children or supervise their children's use of devices. All right. The ability of a user to operate a medical device depends on his or her personal characteristics, including, this is a bullet point list, physical size, strength, and stamina, physical dexterity, flexibility, and coordination, sensory abilities, i.e. vision, hearing, and tactile sensitivity, cognitive abilities, including memory, medical conditions for which the device is being used, comorbidities, i.e. multiple conditions or diseases, literacy and language skills, general health status, mental and emotional state, level of education and health literacy relative to the medical condition involved, general knowledge of similar types of devices, knowledge of an experience with a particular device, ability to learn and adapt to a new device, and willingness and motivation to learn to use a new device. You should evaluate and understand the characteristics of all intended user groups that could affect their interactions with the device and describe them for the purpose of HFUE/UE evaluation and design. These characteristics should be taken into account during the medical device development process so that devices might be more accommodating of the variability and limitations among users. All right, device use environments. The environments in which medical devices are used might include a variety of conditions that could determine optimal user interface design. Medical devices might be used in clinical environments or non-clinical environments, community settings, or moving vehicles. Examples of environmental use conditions include the following. This is a bullet point list. The lighting level might be low or high, making it hard to see device displays or controls. Next, the noise level might be high, making it hard to hear. The noise level might be high, making it hard to hear device operation feedback or audible alerts and alarms, or to distinguish one alarm from another. Next, the room could contain multiple models of the same device, component, or accessory, making it difficult to identify and select the correct one. Next, the room might be full of equipment or clutter, or busy with other people and activities, making it difficult for people to maneuver in the space, providing distractions that could confuse or overwhelm the device user. And finally, the device might be used in a moving vehicle, subjecting the device and the user to jostling and vibration that could make it difficult for the user to read a display or perform fine motor movements. All right, you should evaluate and understand relevant characteristics of all intended use environments and describe them for the purpose of HFE/UE evaluation and design. These characteristics should be taken into account during the medical device development process so that a device may be more accommodating of the conditions of use that could affect their use safety and effectiveness. All right, device user interface. Sorry, it's kind of hard to talk this much. All right, a device user interface includes all points of interaction between the user and the device, including all elements of the device with which the user interacts. A device user interface might be used while user setups the device. That kind of sounds weird to me. A device user interface might be used while user setups the device, e.g. unpacking, setup, calibration, uses the device, or performs maintenance on the device. I think it should be sets up the device, but whatever. E.g. cleaning, replacing a battery, or repairing parts. It includes, bullet point list again, the size and shape of the device, particularly a concern for handheld and wearable devices, elements that provide information to the user, such as indicator lights, displays, auditory or visual alarms, graphical user interfaces of the device software systems, the logic of overall user system interaction, including how, when, and in what form information, i.e. feedback, is provided to the user, components that the operator connects, positions, configures, or manipulates, hardware components the user handles to control device operations such as switches, buttons, and knobs, components or accessories that are applied or connected to the patient, and packaging and labeling, including operations instructions, training manuals, and other materials. All right, this is the end of this section coming up. All right, the most effective strategies to employ during device design to reduce or eliminate use-related hazards involve modifications to the device user interface. To the extent possible, the look and feel of the user interface should be logical and intuitive to use. A well-designed user interface will facilitate correct user actions and will prevent or discourage actions that could result in harm, use errors. Addressing use-related hazards by modifying the device design is usually more effective than revising the labeling or training. In addition, labeling may not be accessible when needed, and training depends on memory, which might not be accurate or complete. An important aspect of the user interface design is the extent to which the logic of information display and control actions is consistent with the user's expectations, abilities, and likely behaviors at any point during use. Users will expect devices and device components to operate in ways that are consistent with their experiences with similar devices or user interface elements. For example, users might expect the flow rate of a liquid or gaseous substance. I think it is gaseous substance to increase or to decrease by turning a control knob in a specific direction based on their previous experiences. The potential for use error increases when this expectation is violated. For example, when an electronically driven control dial is designed to be turned in the opposite direction of dials that were previously mechanical. Increasingly, user interfaces for new medical devices are software-driven. In these cases, the user interface might include controls such as keyboard, mouse, stylus, touchscreen. Future devices might be controlled through other means such as by gesture, eye gaze, or voice. Other features of the user interface may include the manner in which data is organized and presented to users. Displayed information typically has some form of hierarchical structure and navigation logic. All right, this concludes the end of section 5.